Zeta has left the Yucatan Peninsula and is in the Gulf of Mexico. Good afternoon, I'm Mike Nasel with the latest on Tropical Storm Zeta, likely to become a hurricane once again later today. You can see that beautiful satellite imagery as it leaves the Yucatan Peninsula there, and it now heads into the Gulf of Mexico, likely to strengthen and then start to weaken as it slams into the coast, likely in southeastern Louisiana. Nevertheless, we'll go over all the particulars. Here's the latest as of 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. Zeta was at 21.6 north, 89.5 west. Winds are 65, so it's no longer a hurricane, but that likely will change this afternoon and evening. It's moving northwest at 14, so it's definitely feeling the tug from that developing troughiness over the areas of Texas and the southern Great Plains and the central U.S., and it will likely turn quickly and make landfall probably by Wednesday evening, dinner time, 7 p.m. Wednesday, that's tomorrow. So if you live along the coastline, you guys have just a short time to prepare. We do have a hurricane warning in effect from Morgan City, Louisiana to the Mississippi-Alabama border, including Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Maurepas, and Metropolitan downtown New Orleans. We also have the tropical storm warning still for the north coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, as those winds are still impacting them, as well as the island of Cozumel. And we have tropical storm warnings now from the Mississippi-Alabama border to the Okaloosa Walton County line in Florida. So again, on the Florida Panhandle, you did get hit pretty hard by Sally. One of the people on my video said, Mike, you said Florida got away scot-free. Not in the Pensacola area. You guys got hit by Sally. I was talking about the entire peninsula. Believe me, if Laura had been 200 miles further north in August, it would have been a Category 4 into downtown Miami instead of into central Louisiana. Nevertheless, we still have a tropical storm watch west of Morgan City to Intracoastal City. All along the Gulf Coast, preparations need to be completed for a likely hurricane landfall. It could be at or near hurricane strength when it hits, and that is a danger. You can see most of the computer model guidance is in agreement. Climatology would tell us that it would take this black line where it moves northwest and then gets jettisoned northeast from an approaching trough. That's sort of what's happening. It's going to pull northwest, then north, and then move northeast. You can see almost all of these models are in agreement that it should be dissipating by the time Friday comes around, somewhere here near the mid-Atlantic or off the east coast of the U.S. Nevertheless, it's going to cut right through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, straight into North Carolina and Virginia. So you guys up further north could have nasty weather by Wednesday and Thursday here over areas of Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia as the storm moves on up. Here's a beautiful satellite imagery. Now, I noticed a couple of things here. Notice these clouds right here. You see these arc clouds in here? You see this one right here leaving Texas. Very cool. Those are usually signs of more dry air, maybe mid-level dry air. It's not ideal for strengthening. However, it is slightly more favorable in this area of the Gulf than it normally would be this time of year. So, we believe that since this core of the storm is intact after crossing the Yucatan, it will likely, with that 985 millibar pressure and its inner core, develop quickly back into a hurricane and probably peak out 80 to 90 miles per hour, hopefully not any stronger than that because you don't want it to build up a bigger surge. And then as it begins to feel the effects of this approaching troughiness, it will weaken. We saw the same thing happen with Hurricane Delta, but of course Delta caused quite a slamming there on the southern coastline of Louisiana. You can see the temperatures here in the United States. Look at this line here. You can clearly see the cold weather moving into Texas, and I'll show you up close just to show you the difference. Check this out here. Little Rock, 50 degrees, Alexandria, 70 degrees. That's the difference. 20-degree difference just in that little area there. Texarkana, 59. Shreveport, you're almost at 70 for a high. So that's where the line is drawn with this trough coming through. Look at this. Dallas, 44 degrees. Waco, 47. Lufkin, 74. So if you're in Houston, Texas, it's almost 80 degrees. But if you're in Dallas, it's almost in the 30s. That is a very big contrast, and that should be an indication of this very strong front moving through. Hurricane Zeta, soon to be hurricane again, will not be any match for it. It's not going to continue into Mexico and Texas. It will get picked up and jettisoned on off towards the north and east. On the radar, you could see that even better, the bad weather there moving through areas of Kansas and Oklahoma. No tornado warnings or anything like that right now. No national warnings for that. Just a lot of nasty weather. Definitely a dreary October day. However, nothing on the Gulf Coast yet. You could kind of see, if you use your imagination, see these little turning here in that direction around the periphery of the storm. You could kind of see that. We're going to see it come into radar range over the next 12 to 18 hours. Upper level winds, not too bad over the top of it, but you can see this wind shear here is very, very strong. You're talking 40, 50, 60 knots, and that is very unfavorable. So right now, Zeta's over 5 knots of wind shear. That's very favorable for the clouds to develop and strengthen it. However, as it moves northwest and north, it's going to get just slaughtered by that wind shear, and so that should keep it in check. Nevertheless, the water rises. Areas here near Burris, Louisiana, 4 to 6 feet. The Mississippi Delta, 5 to 8 feet up here. Dauphin Island, 3 to 5 feet. Mobile Bay, Pensacola Bay, anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5 feet of surge. And you have crashing waves on top of that. And so anybody from Vermilion Bay on over to the Big Bend to Yankeetown, you guys want to get away from low-lying areas, listen to local officials in case some evacuations are ordered, schools, that type of thing. You can see landfall is probably going to be right in this area. So if I'm in areas of Houma, Burris, Grand Isle, Louisiana, that would likely be where the eye would cross. But again, the impacts would be to the right of that, and this area here just lets surge bury itself into the coast. And so even a water rise of 8 feet, that's pretty severe. That's 2 feet higher than your average man. And with crashing waves on top of that, I would not want to have to deal with that. So that's going to do it on this update right now for Tropical Storm Zeta. Forecast to become a hurricane again later today, and then make a turn like this into the Louisiana coastline and then up and out by the weekend. Nevertheless, likely to be at or near hurricane strength at landfall. All preparations need to be underway right now to get ready for another United States hurricane landfall, likely again in Louisiana. I'm Mike Naso, and I will talk to you guys next time.